Government to borrow record high P1.4T in single quote 20. The Philippines' gross borrowings will peak to a record high P1.4 trillion next year to finance the government's programmed wider budget deficit cap equivalent to 3.2% of gross domestic product, GDP, as it jacks up spending on public goods and services while also paying more amortization for outstanding debt. During Thursday's Development Budget Coordination Committee meeting, the interagency body kept the borrowing program for 2019 at P1.18 trillion, of which the bulk or 73% will be sourced locally mainly from the sale of Treasury bills and bonds amid ample domestic liquidity, National Treasurer Rosalia V said. The bias for domestic borrowings will minimize foreign exchange risk, economic managers had explained. Foreign borrowing, meanwhile, will come from offshore bond issuances and official development assistance, ODA, loans from bilateral partners and multilateral lenders. This also includes a wider budget deficit ceiling equivalent to 3.2% of GDP for the rest of the Duterte administration's remaining years in office until 2022. Said total gross borrowings next year would jump to P1.4 trillion, with a borrowing mix of 75% domestic, 25% external. Even as the country's borrowings further increase, the debt to gross domestic product, GDP, ratio will be steady at 41.4% this year and next year, said. In 2018, the debt-to ratio stood at 41.9%, and the government wanted to bring the share of debt to the economy to 38.6% in 2022 by sustaining strong economic growth. Economic managers have said that while the government's nominal debt continued to rise, the outstanding amount hit a new high of P7.92 trillion in May. The debt-to ratio was a better measure as a figure below 60% meant the economy remained in good shape and could pay its obligations. Later told reporters that the record high borrowing program for next year would be only a blip, as it would go down to about P1.2 minus 1.3 trillion after 2020. There's just a slight spike left square bracket in 2020 right square bracket. In 2018, given the high left square bracket interest right square bracket rate, we have not really been accepting left square bracket big right square bracket in the left square bracket euro. The Treasury's right square bracket options the amortization left square bracket payments right square bracket for 2020 is quite big because before we were doing left square bracket debt right square bracket exchanges, so given high rates we're not able to do some of the exchanges. So if we do some now that rates are coming down, then we will be able to manage more, explained. Previously, the budget deficit program for 2020 to 2022 was a lower 3% of GDP, but Finance Assistant Secretary Teresa S. Habitan explained that they had to adjust the cap given adjustments in revenue targets and lowered estimates of nominal GDP in the coming years. There's also some pressures for the infrastructure programs to come on stream by 2022, so we needed enough room to expand, and hence the decision of this to increase the left square bracket budget deficit right square bracket ratio to GDP, Habitan added. We would want to hit our targets in terms of infrastructure spending as a percentage of GDP, so it could really bolster in terms of multiplier effect to our growth, said. For 2020, the program the nominal budget deficit of P677.6 billion. As for 2019, the earlier jacked up the budget deficit ceiling to 3.2% of GDP, and Department of Budget and Management Officer in charge Janet B. Abuel said she was optimistic that the government could achieve this goal through its spending cash-up plan. For the Department of Public Works and Highways, it is on track. For DOTr, Department of Transportation, it needs catching up because of some requirements, especially the bigger projects like rails would require so much studies and paperwork. But they also have pending requests that were not captured because the evaluation that we did for the reports were as of June 30th, so we are expecting them to have bigger or increased requests for funding by July onwards, Abuel said. By year-end, the government has been programmed to post a P624.4 billion budget deficit as the P3.77 trillion expenditure program should output the targeted collections of P3.15 trillion in tax and non-tax revenues. But the latest Treasury data shows that as of May, the 5-month budget deficit narrowed by 99.4% to only P809 million from P138.7 billion during the same period last year. The Treasury has mostly blamed the smaller end-May deficit to the delayed approval of the 2019 national budget. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.